we want to talk about, and we're really fine-tuning here, we want to talk about the distinction between frequency and momentum. You could be on a lower frequency, which means you've got a lot of resistance that you're introducing into the equation. So let's say you're fearful or in despair. And you've been fearful and in despair for a while. You've been joining those groups. You've been having those online chats. You watch all the conspiracy theory movies. You've got a really strong thing going. In fact, you've got yourself revved up to a really fast momentum on a really low vibration. Follow that? Or you could be in a high flying place, and you could have been focused with specifics, and you could be having a really fast momentum on a really high flying vibration. Whatever momentum is stronger, whatever momentum is faster, usually dominates the conversation. So if someone comes into your space and they've really got that going on, it could challenge you where you are if you still have some untended to fears about some of the things that they have fears about active in your vibration. And when they come into your space with all of that momentum going, law of attraction is going to cause their fear and your fear to rendezvous, and when that happens, you're going to feel it, which is such a wonderful thing, because it lets you know you've got some unresolved things going on that you didn't know you had going on, that are hindering you. You just didn't know they were hindering you because they're not active all the time. So the key is you want to have enough exposure to enough experiences that you can sort of work the bugs out of your vibration, so that in time anybody could enter your sphere with anything going on within them, and you're flying so high with such momentum that it just goes like this. They just bounce off. You don't go and play with them on anything, you see. We don't want to make this complicated. We just want to say to you, get happy. Get happy. And when you're not happy, go play with the ficus. The dog won't mind. No, go play with the dog. The ficus won't mind. Go. Withdraw yourself if you can. Withdraw yourself and retune, withdraw and retune, because you cannot retune in the midst of it as easily as you can when you get a little distance away from it.
That was my next part of my question. I mean, that was it. Like, so if there is that discomfort, is it okay to withdraw and come back? Withdraw and come back? I mean, if possible. We're going to throw something back at you just to have a little bit of fun. The art of allowing, the art of resistance, the art of alignment, the art of resistance. In other words, you're tuning into who you are, or you're holding yourself apart from who you are. And so the path of least resistance, we touched on this just a little bit yesterday. Humans have issues with deliberately taking the path of least resistance, because there's something in you that makes you feel like you're being lazy. So you kind of think that there's more virtue and value in doing things the hard way. And there isn't. The path of least resistance is the path that the source within you is always guiding you to. Always guiding you to what you want in the path of least resistance. Well, what's the path of least resistance? What would be the strongest common denominator in different experiences where you're experiencing the path of least resistance? It would be one of joy. It would be one of feeling good, you see. So anytime that you're not feeling lighthearted or joy, that means you're taking a path of greater resistance than you need to. And we just want to say, why? Why would you take the hard path? Now, some might say, oh, well, there's more adventure. And we say, there's plenty of adventure on the path of least resistance. And as we said to you yesterday, the path of least resistance doesn't mean the shortest path necessarily. It might, but it doesn't mean it necessarily. It means the path that has the most bang for your buck. It means the path that has the most potential to satisfy the most things that you are asking for in your vortex. Do you have any idea how many things you're asking for in your vortex? You're asking to uplift. You're asking to be uplifted. You're asking for alignment. You're asking for wonderful things to come to you. You're asking for clarity. You're asking for fun. You're asking for humor. You're asking for expansion. You're asking for insight. You're asking for all kinds of things because you've been putting those things into your vortex for a very long time. And so as the source within you is guiding you along, it's not guiding you to the quickest way to satisfy this thing that you're active on right now, this one subject, while that certainly is an important factor in what you're being guided to. But the source within you is remembering everything you want. So let's say that you have something that you really are interested in accomplishing, and you really want to get it done in a short period of time, and you've been focusing and you've been thinking about it. Of course, Source is going to guide you more specifically to what you're asking for. But along the way, Source remembers all the other things you want, like human interaction. Source remembers all the other things you want, like being an uplifter, like being an advantage to others, like being a co-creator, like being an appreciator. And so once you get tuned to this high frequency, that leverage that we were talking about yesterday begins to kick in a way where you have this expansive capacity to explore and receive life. You become more like us. You become more like the source within you, more omnipresent, more sensitive to more things at the same time, more able to receive all of the benefit. It would be sort of like being in a situation where only one of your physical senses, let's say you're going to dinner tonight and you've chosen one of these beautiful places on board this ship, and you have chosen a specific meal that is to your liking, but you go only with the sense of sight. This looks really good, you say. Look at those colors. But you can't smell it. You can't taste it. Can't hold your fork. Bulky example. But what we are getting at, the more you tune yourself to this higher frequency, the greater your capacity to devour the deliciousness of every interaction with everything, so that you find yourself fascinated and enjoying the details, the tactile, visceral, extraordinary details, multi-leveled details of this time-space reality. Nice to know. So what do you do? So with all of that, what did we just say to you? Go to bed tonight, make a decision that when you get up in the morning, you're going to be happy. When you wake up, acknowledge that you are, and then do your best to stay there as long as you can. And if you find yourself in the middle of a conversation with someone and you feel yourself sort of slipping from it, just go 17, 16, 15. And they'll say, what are you doing? 14, 13. What are you doing? 12, 11. I'm working the bugs out of you. 9, 8, 7. And try to see you through the eyes of Source. 6, 5, 4. What were you saying? What were you saying? 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. You're looking better to me. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. What were you saying? 17, 16, 15. Don't do it out loud. Don't do it out loud. Just have fun with this. You're meeting up with all kinds of people in all kinds of places. Esther was getting ready today and turned on her television with all the music to choose from. And the system was in one room and she was getting ready in the other. And she made 25 trips into the other room to change the music because she was reaching for something that was in a vibrational vicinity of where she was. And it seemed like no matter what one she chose, there were all kinds of different choices, it got into heavy stuff right away. And she thought, they should just put this all in one category and call it bummer. There was nothing uplifting about anything. Finally, she just turned it off and thought her own happy thoughts. You tune yourself to the frequency that is you. And everything that is the frequency that you are will then begin to reveal itself to you. And meanwhile, let's not make such a big thing about it. Helpful?
Very.
Good. There could not be a better conversation